Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking you through our first month spending as we travelled through Spain and Portugal in our van. Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. I'm going to talk you through our first month spending as we travelled through Spain and Portugal in our van. Now, we did do a video a couple of years ago of our budget when we first travelled through Europe in the van. You can watch that here. We'll put a link in the description, a little card will pop up so you can watch that. That was when we were living on a very tight budget. It was around about €750 per month for mainly food and fuel, but everything was included in there. So if you want to see that, watch that. Today's one's going to be about our monthly spending. We're not living on a very tight budget, but we are trying to keep it low because it is very easy to spend a lot of money when you're traveling if you're staying at campsites and stuff. So we keep a track record of everything that we spend money on. So first things first, I'm going to open up our little notebook that I've got. The most expensive thing that we spend money on is food. So this month we have spent €299.70 on food. That's included eating out once with one of our friends at a pizzeria. It was very cheap in Portugal. That was about €29. And we do most of our food shopping in Lidl. We absolutely love Lidl. We use it in Europe all the time. It's just a really good place to get everything you need at a really good price, and they do really nice fresh bread, so I do really like Lidl. Secondly is fuel. We've driven so far 1,478 miles since we got off the ferry in Spain. So we drove from Bilbao and right now we're in central Portugal. So we've spent €270.28 on fuel, which, to be fair, feels very, very cheap for the amount of distance we've done, but our van is really good on fuel, so it hasn't eaten too much into our budget, which is really nice. Then we've got a few random different things. There are things that you don't necessarily plan for, but it's good to have a record of because you don't always have to spend money on them, but sometimes they do crop up, like replacing your gas. Our gas usually lasts for about 4 to 6 months, and as you'll see in one of our vlogs, when we did hit the road, it was one thing that we forgot to top up before we left, and it did run out on day one actually when we were in Spain, but it's so easy to replace it. We have camping gas. It's only a small bottle. We carry 2, but we don't usually refill them both at the same time because we really don't need to replace them too often, and it's easy to do it in Europe. That cost us €16.70, and I went to I'm going to try and pronounce it. In Spain it was called a ferreteria. It's basically like a supply store where you can get all like nuts and bolts and all that sort of stuff. They're really handy, super cheap, literally more than half the price to refill it in Europe than it is in the UK, which is just mental. And that will last us the whole time that we're in Spain and Portugal, especially because we only have one ring, which does make a massive difference in terms of the amount of gas that you do use. So tolls are pretty prevalent in Europe. We do try and avoid them as much as we can, which is why out of the 1,478 miles we've done, we've only spent €9.40 on tolls. That was because we really wanted to get to a certain place in fast time. We didn't want to go down loads of different country lanes, which whilst they're beautiful, it does take longer to do that. So we just hit the toll road, got where we needed to that day and spent €9.40 on it. It's worth noting that our card didn't work there, so we had to pay in cash. So it's always a good idea to carry cash with you because you never know when your card might not work. Even though we do have a travel money card, it doesn't always work everywhere, so it's always a good idea to have backup cash just in case. Next on the list is our internet bills. So we are in a really good position now. Our internet works the same in the UK as it does in Europe. So I have 20 gig a month with Virgin, and that's still 20 gig a month in Europe, which is really handy. Theo's with 3, he has unlimited in the UK. It's just down to 9 gig per month in Europe, but between the two of us, that's good. But we still need to have more data than that because we upload our videos online, because our jobs is all about being online, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. So we wanted to make sure that even though there is a good amount of Wi-Fi spots and stuff in Europe, we wanted to have our own internet to take with us as well. We've got a little MiFi device which is absolutely fantastic. We bought it when we first started travelling in Europe in 2014. It's still alive and kicking, it still works. We use it on the boat, we use it in the van because you can literally take it anywhere with you. And we had some advice from a couple of different people to try out Vodafone, which we did. It's very easy to get a SIM card in Portugal. The first day we got to Portugal, I went to a Vodafone store, asked them if they could speak English in Portuguese, because that's always a good way to open a conversation. I can't speak Portuguese very well, but I can ask how to speak English in Portuguese. And they were really helpful. They could speak English very well, which made it a lot easier, because you always do feel like kind of a jerk when you can't speak the language, but I am learning Portuguese, I'm trying. So the SIM card that we got, it's an interesting one. I will show you what it's called and have a link in the description because it's been really helpful for us. It's worked everywhere we've gone, which is fabulous. It's got 4G on it as well, so the connection's actually really good. We've uploaded every video so far on this connection, and it works basically. You go in the store, they sort it all out for you for €15. For 15 days, you get 30 gig of data. And then when that runs out, you can either pay another €15 for 15 days again for another 30 gig, or, and this is where it gets a bit interesting, €20 for 20 days, which is 30 gig. So it's still the same amount of data, but for 5 more days, or €30 for 30 days for 30 gig. Now for us, it makes more sense for us to spend €15 for 15 days for 30 gig, because then that means that if we top up twice in a month, we're getting 60 gig of data for just €30. So it's worked really well for us. I've topped up once now, once when we bought it and then once since. You can apparently top up at cash machines as well. I haven't tried that yet because I've always gone into a Vodafone store to do it, and it's really easy, really fast, and it works immediately. So then I've got a miscellaneous section here. This is basically for things like, we bought some tarpaulin at Leroy Merlin to cover the generator that we haven't actually used the tarp yet because it hasn't rained. There was something else that was part of the miscellaneous. Let me just see. Oh yeah, I bought some mugs from a little shop because I totally forgot our mugs. Totally useless. And also I had to post something that I accidentally brought all the way from the UK with me, so I had to post that as well. So that came up to about €17.29. That's just a little miscellaneous things that don't fall in the food category, but they're random, so they're there. And then we get on to things like laundry. That was €6 in Portugal. And in fact, I think in a few different places now in Europe, you can do your washing at the side of the road, not in a laundrette. It's like an outside machine operated washing machine place where you can wash your clothes and dry it. And even more interestingly, I realised after I'd put our detergent in, detergent is included in the actual washing machine. So it's pretty cool. You don't have to literally have anything. Just bung your clothes in. I think it was €4 for the wash and then €2 to dry. And it was perfect. Like, all of our clothes were cleaned. We don't carry too many clothes, but we've got enough to last us a couple of weeks at a time. So I'm probably going to have to do another wash in a few days, but €6 for laundry, which is really handy, and it dries there and then. Okay, so things like water hasn't cost us a penny. In Portugal, they have water everywhere. Every single village has drinking water, which everyone uses to fill up their water. So that's what we've been doing. It's fantastic. Water is literally everywhere. Toilet, we haven't had to pay to empty our toilet either. Europe is so good for emptying toilets and waters and all this sort of stuff for motorhomes and caravans and all that. Everyone who's just travelling out and about. In the UK, you can't just go and empty your toilet in a special service. You've got to go and do it at a campsite or in your own toilet at home if you've got one, like a normal toilet if you live in a normal house, which we don't. So anyway, that was a bit of a ramble. For the toilet situation, we've shown it in some of our vlogs, and we'll probably do a dedicated video on it because it is so useful in random places, mainly petrol stations, but sometimes in service points on motorways, sometimes at supermarkets, specifically Intermarché. They have designated areas where you can empty your toilet for free and get water as well, which is absolutely amazing. Water isn't always free in those places, but the toilet emptying is, so we haven't had to pay to empty our toilet as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Then we come to camping. We haven't paid to stay at a campsite because we haven't stayed at a campsite yet. We probably won't stay at one. We try and avoid them, not because there's anything wrong with them. We just prefer the freedom of wild camping. So we haven't spent any money on campsites. But in this area, I always have a look just to keep on top and know these things. They're about between 8 to 20 euros per night. So it depends where you are. It's out of season as well, so it's cheaper in winter to stay at a campsite. Then we've got showers. We haven't paid to shower. We have showered. I know it's been a month and you're probably like, what? We've showered. We've washed in rivers. We've washed in thermal pools. We've had showers at a few different friends' places who we've met along the way, which is really helpful. We've got our little portable shower that we haven't used yet, but we will use soon, purely because I really want to try it out. Okay. Then we've got something which isn't part of the actual monthly travel, but it's still part of our monthly spending. So I've included that in here as well, but it's not in the actual total price because it's separate to our holiday money, if you know what I mean. So our miscellaneous bills, things that come out of our bank account every single month. So we've got basically like our different kinds of insurance, editing software, music license, all those kind of things. That comes to around about 90 euros per month. So that's everything that we spend this month. And then I know people will want to know about the cost of a ferry to get here and the cost of insurance and the cost of breakdown cover and things. We haven't included that in our monthly budget, well, our monthly spending, because we paid for all of that beforehand in lump sums. We prefer doing it that way. We don't like to have loads of different things coming out of our account every single month. So we've already paid for them. If you're curious about how much we pay for things like insurance and stuff, we could probably do a separate video about it. But I'm not going to include it in this month's spend because it hasn't actually come into this month's spending at all. Our ferry price was, however, a £650 return, which we did book a couple of months in advance because the ferry crossing from Portsmouth to Spain can get very pricey. There's lots of different price ranges. It depends what cabin you have, it depends what vehicle you have, it depends where your cabin is that you've chosen, whether it's inside or outside, or even if you're on the economy ferry or the more cruise style ferry. So that really does vary, but ours was £650 return, which meant that we got to skip driving through the entire amount of France. So that brings me to the total. You might have been following along and adding up as we go, but our total, not including our miscellaneous UK spending, is €586.37. We spend most of our stuff through our travel money card because it's a really easy way for us to keep an account of everything we spend money on. There are loads of different kinds of travel money cards available now. We personally use the post office one because it was the main one that came out when we first started traveling years ago, but there are a load of other really good ones, but that's what we use. I find it really easy to keep on top of our spending with that, but like I said, sometimes you need to spend with cash as well. The card doesn't work everywhere. I don't know why. Sometimes it just doesn't want to work, so cash is useful to have. And then with the miscellaneous bills on top of that, it turns out to be €676.37 for the month, and that's for the two of us. So we're not even trying to live on a budget, that's just how much we've spent. Each month can vary, it depends how many miles you do, it depends whether you stay at campsites. You know, Christmas is coming up in this month, maybe we'll go all out and get loads of food for Christmas because that's what Christmas is all about. But I hope this video has been useful for you. If you want to see more informative videos, comment below. If you've got anything in particular that you want us to cover, please comment below. We love to inform you about as much stuff as we can because we found this sort of stuff really useful before we went travelling, and we've been doing it for a good few years now, so it's all kind of common knowledge to us. But knowledge to us is knowledge that other people might not know yet, so we're more than happy to discuss these things. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe now and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. If you want to support us and help continue making our videos, then join us on Patreon from only $1 a month. See you on the next one.